I'm going to talk about my trip to Portugal, Lisbon, Portugal. I don't know if you can see this screen, but can you see this? No?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. Lisbon is located on the eastern part. As you can see, there's Spain, Portugal, Switzerland. So that's where Lisbon is. Portugal, and Canada is way over here. So it took us exactly a total of 16 hours to travel from Edmonton to Portugal. The flight was it was good. If you have a little 12-year-old traveling with you, it's kind of hard for her. So Lisbon is the capital of Portugal. And the reason why we went there is because I'm Catholic, and this is the group that went. We're called the Oskayak group, Maskwacis Oskayak. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 of us that went. And it was for World Youth Day. World Youth Day is hosted every 4 years by the Pope, by the Roman Catholic Church. And this year in Lisbon, Portugal, there was approximately, what did they say? Almost 2 million Catholics that gathered in Lisbon, Portugal. And it was so amazing. Okay, which way did I go? Here's us on the plane. There's my daughter. She's 12. That was us in Montreal. We had to take no, that was in Toronto, a connecting flight. Here's her in the lineup. She was so excited. She was the youngest out of the group that attended. The others were teens. And there's us walking through the airport. Here's a lady that we met from the Philippines. She was so amazed that she was meeting people along the way through her travels. I think she was coming from Vancouver. And her too was going to World Youth Day in Portugal, and this was in Toronto. And there's me, messy hair. Again, messy hair. This was in Portugal when we arrived. We went to an Airbnb, and this building in the back was to me caught my eye because it's right in the middle of a modern part of Portugal. There's New Portugal and then there's Old Portugal. And here's me on the balcony of the Airbnb. You could see the modern city. It has like streets, one way. And also their cars are parked like in the centers. There's a big difference between Old Portugal and New Portugal. Here's the Airbnb where we stayed. It was very modern, very hot there. We tried to do laundry. It was plus 39 weather all the time, every day. And when we did laundry, I was asking, where's the dryers? And they said they don't have dryers there. The heat it's hot enough that people hang their clothes. But what they do have in every accommodation or where you stay is that they have an ironing board and an iron. So what they do is they have washing machines, but they hang their clothes. They don't sell dryers in Portugal, which to me was amazing because a long time ago we used to do that. But now we have all these modern things, washers, dryers, and we can press a button on the dryer where we can press our clothes and they'll come out unwrinkled. I had to share this one because the balcony is made up of tiles. Look at that. It was, and probably plants here. It's the dry season right now in Portugal. So very hot. There's another one. and they have it smells there. It smells because I guess it's like an old city where and these things here are supposed to be air conditioners, and their garbage is kind of sit in these things until a garbage truck comes, and they have their food is always fresh. Their meat market, oh, it's nothing like us here in Canada where they have prepackaged chicken, prepackaged steak, prepackaged, all of that stuff. Their meat market is fresh. Like there'll be a slab of steak hanging in the meat market, chicken in the glass, and they'll ask how many pounds you want or stuff like that. Even their vegetables are in boxes like they had a long time ago. Um, I don't know if I took pictures of the stores. I should have took a picture of that meat market. So this one is an advertisement for their apartments. You could see how they live. They're so close. The buildings are so close. And here's the inside of our Airbnb. There was 14 rooms in that. Quite expensive. The euros are worth more than our Canadian dollar. I think for $100, 100 euros, we needed to pay 148 Canadian, which was totally outrageous. But we managed, and we fundraised, and we worked hard to go. So it was possible. Here's one of our youth. Name is Isaac. There's this is actually a mother and a daughter, and the food there is new. It was definitely new to us. They eat a lot of fish. They have a lot of tuna. So we had tuna sandwiches, and I actually brought this. It's called manna. I don't know if you can see it. I'm appearing and disappearing. Okay, right there. Called manna, and it's a chickpea pate. And they have their tuna in a sardine can. But this stuff is amazing. It tastes really good, and I'm gonna savor it and eat it one day when I wanna remember Portugal. So this is their tobacco machines. I had to laugh because I haven't seen these in a dog's age. Like, just saw them as a kid. So we thought we'd try and see what comes out because they're nosy. So this is a cigarette machine, and they're $5.30. The cheapest, I think, was what, $4.50 for a pack of cigarettes, and they taste nothing like the ones here in Canada. I had to try one too. So I took a picture of this. It says Lisbon welcomes the world, because there was people from all over the world coming to Lisbon. And I'll talk more about that later when we go. And this is our van. We had a van to oh my goodness, my mind went blank. It's a story about, and we're going into Old Lisbon. See how narrow the streets are? Nothing like the new Lisbon. So the streets are very narrow, and the buildings are so much closer together. So this is Old Lisbon, Old Portugal. Look at all the people, all going one way. This lady's sitting there. She's a store owner. Because so many people go by during the day, and they take breaks, and they sit there. No room for table and chairs outside. So narrow. And I had to take a picture of this. This is their form of graffiti. Still baffles me, but I found it interesting. And this is going up to a church called Santarem. It's I actually had to look it up so I could explain it properly. So the Santarem, Portugal, the Eucharistic miracle of Santarem. The tale of the miracle involves a woman and her unfaithful husband. In a desperate attempt to save her marriage, the woman went to see a sorceress for help. The sorceress said she would grant the woman's wish of renewing the husband's fidelity in exchange for the woman bringing her a consecrated host. So a consecrated host is the body of Jesus. As a Catholic, we believe that when the priest is praying over the bread and the wine, it becomes the body and blood of Jesus. So reluctantly, the woman decided to commit the sacrilege and steal a host. So in us, that's a big no-no. Yeah, it's a sacrilege. The woman went to mass at the Church of St. Stephen. She received the Holy Eucharist in her mouth, then took the sacred host out of her mouth and wrapped it in her veil and headed quickly out of the church. Before she had taken more than a few steps, the host began to bleed. It bled so much that it appeared as if she had cut her hand. Several concerned parishioners went to help her, but as they reached her, she ran out of the church. Upon returning home, she threw the bloody host in the bottom of an old trunk in her bedroom. As was his custom, her husband returned late that night. During the middle of the night, a mysterious light emanated from the trunk. When the couple awoke, the woman confessed to her husband what she had done. Then they both knelt in adoration and repentance before the miracle. The next morning, they told the parish priest what had happened. The host was then placed in a wax container and solemnly returned to the Church of St. Stephen. Of course, upon hearing the news, the villagers hurried to the church to see and venerate the miracle. When the priest opened the tabernacle, another miracle had taken place. The wax container holding the sacred host was found shattered in many pieces, and the host was now enclosed in a crystal pyx. After an exhaustive investigation by ecclesiastical authorities, the miracle was proved. It is believed that St. Francis Xavier visited the Church of the Holy Miracle before setting off for missionary work in India. It is an article of our faith that the wine and bread literally become the body and blood of our Lord Jesus Christ during the consecration, and to actually see it physically manifested is a wonderful experience. So the Miracle Church is this. So we're going up there. Here's the church entrance, and they have a picture of when the host became the actual, when it bled. And here's Father Frank meeting this man. I believe he said he was from the United States. So, and here's the Miracle of Santarem, the picture of it. And here is Saint Therese of Lisieux, and I believe this is the body of Jesus. They do a lot of how would you say? They like to have that feeling emit to the people that the Holy Spirit is always present everywhere. And that's how it felt, really. And I just had to take pictures of these beautiful old chairs. They're very old. They're probably over 200 years old. And this, I had to take a picture and I had to ask about it. And a long time ago, before there were speakers like technology and stuff, the priests or the preachers used to stand up here so they could have the attention of all the people. And I took a picture of the altar. You could see many saints here. This is the tabernacle where they keep the miracle of Santarem. Very beautiful church. It's so old. Lots of gold, and it's pure gold. Here's another part where the saints are always emanated because they are part of the church. These are people who dedicate their lives to I guess serving the Lord, and they are canonized by the Pope when miracles happen, when they were alive here on earth, and then when they die, they're canonized as saints. So that's how we get our saints. This is I couldn't read this. I was trying to see if I could read it, but I couldn't. But it's another saint, and this is the child Jesus, I believe. Right here you could see their outlets. They're very different from what we have here in Canada. We have 2 prongs. Them they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5 prongs for their outlets. So we had to purchase a different outlet and then have the Canadian outlets attached to it on the other side so we could get power and charge our phones. Quite amazing. There's another one, another saint. This is, I believe, our Mother Mary. And this is Saint Christopher and holding the child Jesus. I had to take a picture of this because they don't let the people touch these. There was a barrier there. These are over 200 to 300 years old. These, they call them vestibles. And these ones are the new ones that they got dry cleaned. I don't know why these ones, they I don't know, maybe they're really delicate, but nobody's to touch them and they're tagged. And yeah, so there's a crucifix. This is part of that Church of Santarem. And I had to take a picture. Look at the old door. And this crucifix must be very old too. All the candle holders, and it's a very old church. There's some more. You could see the new ones, and these ones are many colors. Many colors represent, I guess, the times in the church. Red would be for Christmas. Purple would be for Easter. They have like, we have Lent. We have ordinary time. We have Advent. So there's 3 seasons in the church, and Easter. So actually 4. So pilgrims, there's a message on here. Look at the old wash bin, the old wash station. In conformity with canonical and diocesan law, priests wishing to celebrate Holy Mass at this shrine must present a valid clerical identification card to the competent authority. So priests have to prove that they're priests if they want to celebrate Mass. So there's probably a lot of people who, you know, lie. I'll just say it, lie that they're a priest. So there's my daughter standing up there, and we wanted to go up here onto the balcony, but we weren't allowed. Look at the old ceiling. It's all wood and must be plyboard. But the concrete pillars, it was so amazing. This church is just beautiful. The old chair where the priest sits. I wanted to ask how old it is, but it must be very old. Look at the intricate designs. It must have been a lot of work to make. And this was leather. So they did leather work also. Beautiful chair. And I had to take a picture of this. Look at the old pews. They're called pews. People would probably say benches, but pews. So beautiful. Beautiful church. So old. My daughter. The old door and the old mailbox. This is, I had to take a picture. There's a lot of art, a lot of old art that's all over Portugal, and you'll see some as I go along. And this is people receiving communion, sitting there. And here's our group, Maskwacis of Skyak, from Treaty 6 Territory, World Youth Day, Lisbon 2023. And this is a picture of before when we went to, hold on, my mind just went blank. This is a picture of an old kitchen. Um, there was 3 kids, Jacinta, Lucia, oh, right here. In this house lived Sister Maria Lucia of Jesus and of the Immaculate Heart. There was 3 children who back in the, I think, late 1800s witnessed a vision of our Mother Mary in Portugal. For the life of me, I can't remember the name of the place, but there was a really, I guess, a big change in Portugal at the time, because at that time too, Portugal didn't participate in the world wars, because Mother Mary had come to tell the children, to tell the people to pray the rosary. So at the time, there was a lot of speculation. There was a lot of, oh, that's not true, they're just kids. But when these kids were uneducated, and they seen an apparition of our Mother Mary, and they were able to prove it by saying she calls herself the Immaculate Conception, and these children never heard or were never taught that yet. So the priests began to believe, and then Fatima, that's what the place is called, Our Lady of Fatima, and this is Fatima, Portugal. So when they believe that, and then the people were coming from all over the world, because there was poverty, there was sicknesses, there was diseases at that time, and when they were gathered, the sun danced as it was coming up, and our Mother Mary appeared to the people, and so Portugal became a Catholic country. And because of that, all the women in Portugal gathered their wedding bands, and they melted it, and they made a crown for our Mother Mary, because they prayed the rosary. They did not participate in the world wars. So the men were able to stay with their families and not be sent off to war. And that's how they gave thanks. They took all their wedding bands and they made a golden crown, and it sits there in that church. So here's the, to me, that was so amazing, because they gave thanks for sparing their husbands and their sons from going to war, and that's how they gave thanks. So Lucia's family, so you could see how they dressed it. This was in 1921. I wish I could read Portuguese, but I can't. But you can see they lived in such meager, simple homes. They must have restored this, because I didn't see white walls back in 1921. So they had to have restored it. This is a crucifix in their home. You can see it's very old. This is their beds. They're so small. Back in those days, they must have been shorter because of the diet that they had. Nowadays, our kids just grow so tall and so big because of all the hormones injected into our meats and stuff. The vegetables, look at the baby cradle. And I asked what these were made of, and they said feather and hay. So now that term hit the hay, right? So because they had hay for mattresses. So this is the home of Lucia. They made a little, I guess, statue, and there's Mother Mary. This is the home of Francesco and Jacinta. Here's their parents. 1930. This is Lucia in 1946. The old things in this house belong to Jacinta's and Francisco's parents, where they live. So this is the home. their beds. You can see the picture of their parent. So this is the bed of couple Marta, where Jacinta and Francisco Marta, more 7 brothers, were born. So all those children were born on that bed. When Jacinta was sick, this bed was sick. This bed was her, and after died in Lisbon in 1920. I can't see. And Jacinta's mother died in this bed and this room in 1956. So that was the bed that I took a picture. Here's the bed. Can you imagine, having given birth on here and dying on this bed? Yeah, that's how. So here's their kitchen. Look at their air, I guess, or ventilator. There's a fire pit down here, the old table where they ate, the water cistern. And these are old items that were originally in their home. The old pails, all the pictures of them. I had to take a picture of the keys. That really amazed me. How what you see in the movies is actually true, because I was amazed, like, oh my God, they did have keys like that. So there's a picture of the children. They're just babies. And this was their toys, their nativity scenes. You can see the baby Jesus, Mother Mary. They didn't sell them. They kept them and they put them on display because it was part of their home. So here's their teapot, I believe, where they used the washroom indoors. And this was definitely restored because you could just see the tiles in the back. Their wash basin, another water cistern, the table. Everything is so old. Their dishes. Oh, I love dishes. I love dishes with flowers. I love dishes. I don't know why. I think that must come from my mom. I found these so beautiful, and they're probably very old too. Probably at least 100, over 100 years old. These dishes and the cabinet as well. You could see the locks. They're very old. So the keys probably unlocked them. I had to take pictures of the chairs, how delicate they look. They're not as sturdy as the chairs that we have today, because again, I was thinking the people were smaller and lighter, and the chairs could, accommodate their weight and stuff back in those days. Here's the Church of Fatima. It's huge. It's very huge. I think this is like maybe a mile wide long. I'm standing at the top of the church. Here's to the side. Many people come here throughout the year. Over, what did they say, 5 to 6 million people come every year throughout the year. And here's the Church of Fatima. I just love these old churches. They're really amazing to see. You could see the angels up here protecting, and here's our Mother Mary, the apparition of our Mother Mary. Here's another picture. I guess it's kind of like a duplicate of what really happened, and they tried to, I guess, emanate the apparition and the children down here. So it's a very old church again, and here's the old, I don't even know what they're called, but I'll just call it a speaker stand. They had some on both sides. And again, the saints up there. Very beautiful church. Again, the old pews. Nothing new about this one. Everything is old. The balconies, nobody's allowed up there. I guess a long time ago, they were able to they'd be so packed. The churches would be so packed that they needed to, have space for people. And these arches here must have took a lot of work. So beautiful. And in each one they have saints. The saints pray for people. If you have a saint that you like, they can pray for you. You can pray to them to intercede. Intercede means to pray to Jesus for you, because they are closer to Jesus than the world while we're on our earthly journey. I had to take a picture of this, and a long time ago, the artists were so just amazing. This is a statue that was created, and I couldn't see who it was. Oh, here's an up close one of our Mother Mary. Mary is crowned as Queen of Heaven and Earth. This is our Father, and this is our Father, and this is Jesus. It has to be, and all the angels around her, and the angels. I think this is Saint Michael and Saint Raphael. Don't know, but here's that picture down here. I was amazed by this one. This is actually a saint that's buried in there. I think that's Saint Jacinta or Saint one of the kids that they kept the remains in there. And there's an angel. This is the boy, yeah. So one of the, who was it now? There's Jacinta, Lucia, and the boy. This is where the boy is buried. Francisco, that's his name. So there's a picture of the kids, Mother Mary. And hey, we're back at the Airbnb. Here's Sister Monica. She usually wears black, but she was wearing white, a white habit because of the heat. So I guess she was to help her keep cooler. She still had to wear her habit. And you could see one of our girls here wearing a ribbon skirt. And she caught a lot of attention from a lot of people asking her if she was Indigenous. So here's another church we were at. This one, I can't remember the name of it. There was also a very beautiful church. You could just see how big the paintings and stuff were. That's a dog. Let me see if I can get zoomed in on that. They're not dogs. I think they're deer or something. Sheep. Yeah, another old church. Here's the mall. We went to a mall there. What was amazing about this is that these food stores had I guess I don't know what you call it, an advertisement. I'll say, and we wore these tags around our necks all the time, identifying that we're World Youth Day participants. So you show them that tag, and if they have that same tag or the same poster on their store, they'll feed you for free. And it was so amazing because only God can feed 2 million people for free. That has to be a spiritual blessing, because we got to eat for free. All 2 million, almost 2 million people got to eat for free in Portugal. So this was our accommodations. We were one of the first ones there. This is Faith. She's playing basketball. This is where we stayed for 14 days. And the rest of our group was along here. And this place filled up like crazy. There was a lot of people from all over. And this is a secondhand shopping under the bridge beside the mall. And here's a flag of all the world. I couldn't believe how long it was. It's much longer. We went walking by the ocean. There we go. So it started from there and went all the way down. Many, many flags. And we went up the gondolas. We had to check it out. It was actually pretty neat. So here it is. We're on the gondolas. This bridge connects from Old Portugal or Old Lisbon to New Lisbon. I don't know if you can see. There's the bridge right here. Or no, it's right here. Sorry. Right here. That's the bridge. So I had to take a picture of that. Here's modern Lisbon. They have it's kind of like, I don't know how to explain it, but really lots of modern buildings. And over here is Old Lisbon. You can see from the distance, and this is in between Old Lisbon and New Lisbon. There's the dock. There's somebody sitting down there. These are all sitting spots. Trees are so pretty too. They're different from here. There's lots of. There's that bridge. Water. There's hundreds of jellyfish. I don't know if you can see them, but those white things are jellyfish. They're everywhere. So not everybody can or swims in the water there. I don't know if I can rotate this, but here's our group that rode into that gondola. Oh, I had to take a picture of this. This was at 8:53 p.m. So every day we walk 16,205 steps. So we were really getting our exercise. And this was so beautiful. This lit up at night. It's a statue of Jesus with the Portugal colors of their flag. So I found that so neat. And so here's the nightlife. We went to go sit by the ocean. Well, the bay. It's called the bay. So beautiful. So, oh, these I had to take pictures. There's a Navy base there. Here's our picture of our group. We're meeting in the morning. This was probably about 8 a.m. So there was no time to sleep. Who would want to sleep anyhow, right? This is Portugal. So we're up in the castle now. I believe this is where those are vineyards. I was trying to take a picture. Oh, I had to take a picture of this because what you see back here is the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean. Here's my baby. We were up going to, oh my gosh, this was beautiful. There was a lighthouse here where we were able to come and visit, and where the Atlantic Ocean is, you can see in the background there. It just makes you feel so small and so insignificant because whatever we see, you know, sometimes we only see what we see in front of us, but when we have a spiritual perspective, you know, that we're part of something so much bigger. So this is the narrow streets. This is actually a two-way street. I couldn't believe it. We're going up to a castle here. So there's part of way up there, you can see the castle. We wanted to go up there, but we didn't quite make it. Here's the edge of the lighthouse. This is on our way up there to the lighthouse. So everything you see is from a vehicle. I was standing there and you could see the Atlantic Ocean. Really beautiful. So here's an old gate entrance. Look at this is Old Lisbon. A lot of people, a lot of visitors riding on the bus. can see the Atlantic Ocean. Again, I tried to take as many pictures as I could. The old castle, this was another castle that we were unable to go into. I so wanted to, but I couldn't. This is a picture from, I don't know if I was standing or riding a bus. Okay, we were walking. The Park and Palace of Monserrate. We weren't able to go into this castle, but I wish we would have. There we go. There's the Atlantic Ocean and the land of Portugal. There's a gate, another castle, more pictures. Here's the cliffs of the lighthouse. Here's the cliffs again. Right here, this monument is dedicated everywhere. Portugal is a Catholic country, so everywhere is consecrated to Our Mother Mary and to protect the land. And they have musicians and people playing music all day long, and that's how they make a living sometimes. There are more beautiful pictures of Portugal. In the distance, you could see a ship, the land. There's me, my messy hair. It was so dry and yeah, kind of humid there. So my hair was always frizzy. You could just hear the waves of the water. It was so relaxing and just really quite beautiful. It's the ocean again. There's me feeling inspired from the beautiful ocean and feeling so small, part of something so much bigger. There's the lighthouse. There's the cliffs, really quite beautiful. Cabo de Roca. And this means in English, where the land meets the sea. That's what it says. Because I asked, I'm really nosy. Where the land ends and the sea begins. That's what it means. So we found a cat there who was sitting in the top of the cliff. I found that so funny. Another one, the Atlantic Ocean. There's two sailboats. I zoomed in because they were way, way out there. Some people. There's our Skype group. Not everybody was here, but we tried to promote the Atlantic Ocean and our group. It was such an amazing venture. And here's these. Oh, my daughter was up on this cliff and just about gave me a heart attack. I was screaming from up there. I had to take a picture and show her how close she was to the edge. One of the sisters got hurt. She fell off and she ended up in the hospital. Not from falling here, but fainting in the gift shop. She didn't eat that morning and it was so hot. So if you didn't eat or drink water, it definitely would affect you. Here's the ocean again, baby. Oh, this is the kind of vegetation was all over that cliff, all over the land. I found it so different. So, and here's the gift shop. Somebody painted a picture of what we just saw, and that's what they saw. So here's I don't even know who these are. I wanted to ask questions, but there was nobody to answer my questions. So here's the there's a movement called the Native Crescio, and de Colères would be shoot, my mind just went blank. But it's a movement of Christianity that came from the old country, I'll just say that, from Europe. And they landed here. So here's the ocean, and they came here to Portugal. Oh, this one is a beautiful castle. Oh my gosh. This is us arriving there. This is what it looks like. They had a model of it. So stained glass window. It was commissioned by King Ferdinand in 1840 from the Kellner workshop in Nuremberg, and alluding to the founding of the monastery of Pina in 1503. Below, King Manuel I and Vasco da Gama near the Tower of Belém in the background. On top are Lady and St. George in the Ark, and armillary sphere, the cross of the Order of Christ, and coat of arms of Ferdinand II, the royal coat of arms of Saxony and Portugal. So I don't know where that stained glass window picture went. It was there. But here at the top of the castle, you could see Portugal, the ocean, or is that the country? I believe that's the country. The old pistol, this is where they ground up medicines and corn and stuff. Look at their old containers made of copper. This is their kitchen, the entrance of one of the sides of the castle. They had a lot of, how would you say, tiles back in those days. So that was a lot of intricate, delicate work where it was probably painstakingly forever, because every little one is put together like one by one. Here's their kitchen. They had makeshift fruits and stuff, all their bowls. I just love their kitchen. Here's at the top of the castle from one of the windows. I took a picture of all the people. You can see how high up we are. Here's more of the kitchen, their old water bottles and stuff. I don't know, maybe that was oil or wine, stuff they cook with. Oh, this was beautiful. There's St. George, or King George, the statue of him, right at the top, and you could see how far up we are with the country. And here's that the bay, and Old or New Lisbon. This is their church in the castle. They have saints as well. The old door, I couldn't believe how skinny this door is. I couldn't find out why it was there. Probably for storage. Their big, humongous pot, their stove. So this was a wood-burning stove. The old utensils, they had really big ladles back then. Their pans. And this was kept immaculate. Nothing, they restored. And again, more tiles. And you could just see how each one was hand painted. I couldn't believe it. That's a lot of work. Just amazing stuff. So here's the castle again. I wanted to take a picture. Back then, there was a lot of wars and stuff. Portugal was always under attack because it was rich in resources, lots of animals. I asked what kind of animals they have now. They said they don't have much now because of all the kings and stuff slaughtering them. So they'd be lucky to see a deer or any kind of animal. I found that really quite amazing. So everything that they have there in their meat markets is domestic. So they raise them and then they butcher them. Kind of like here, but we have more wildlife than they do. So here's more of the kitchen. Some more copper stuff. So I've always wondered how they shape the pig, the jellies into a pig. Here's an example. They had these things where they'd fill them up, they'd chill them, and then they'd pull them off, and they'd be the shape of a pig. Even mermaids, or I don't know what that is, but it looks like a dragon mermaid, or I don't know. But yeah, that's mystery was solved for me. The key of the iron gate. So there was a big iron gate to the castle, and there was a key, a huge key. And this is their chapel. This is where all the priests sat. The altar was here. They pray here. This is where the ambo where they would read from. So I'm assuming that's where they knighted their knights, in that chapel, in that castle. I believe this is more of the kitchen. Oh, you could just see the ocean here. This is the Atlantic Ocean. So beautiful. This is at the top of the castle. Take a picture of that. Here's Lisbon. Here again of the kitchen. Again, this was another stove. They must have had like 3 stoves in there. And they ate like kings and queens for sure. There's another one. Pot, dishes. How they made their cakes. The trees, I had to look at the trees. They look so much different than ours here. Again, look at all the intricate tiles that they built on the side of the castles. Is that, again, the church, the chapel? Again, there's tiles you could see on the walls. Lots of work, just immaculate. And here again, there's the Atlantic Ocean and on top the castle. The kitchen, again, tiles, just beautiful. Oh, there's the key of the iron key to the iron gate. It was amazing. They kept it locked. Dishes, royal dishes. The chapel, that's the one we just saw. Altarpiece. Couldn't see that altarpiece, but I did show you the altar. There's Lisbon. The stairways, just beautiful. And inside is toward the castle. Takes you inside. Again, royal dishes. Doors to some rooms. They didn't really show us why. And this is where I believe one of the kings are buried, the remains. So it stays in there. And this chapel, or the stained glass window, sheds light on it. Kitchen. This is the center part of the castle. They call it the courtyard. Really beautiful. Again, all the tiles. I couldn't find the Chamberlain room. Some of my pictures got mixed up, but they had a room of the Chamberlain to King Carlos. The Chamberlain, or chamber boy, was a court position held by a member of the nobility and charged with tending the chamber bedroom of the king. Hence, Chamberlain slept in close vicinity to the royal quarters. So they had servants everywhere. And look at how they ate. Oh my gosh. Every dish had served a purpose. And this is their tea room. They even had a smoking room right here. This was a room of one of the visitors, I believe, where they would, the bedroom of the lady in waiting. So they really had stuff like that. So there's the wash basin. These are perfume bottles and pictures. That's for that room of the lady in waiting. And she also had a balcony overlooking the city of Lisbon. So, this is another room. The dressing room of Queen Amelia, the office of King Ferdinand II in the decades between 1860 and 1880. On the walls and ceiling, the plaster imitates wood with star motifs above. The same motifs are also identifiable on the wooden tile flooring. Queen Amelia adopted it as her dressing room, moving in the dresser and dressing table mirror with drawers. So she moved in. These are the stuff that they were talking about. Really beautiful chairs in the castle, the old shelves, the old doors. Really quite beautiful. I just love the teapot and the stuff they have there, the old chairs. Again, look at the tiles on the walls everywhere. It's just amazing. A lot of work. Some old stuff there. Their tables and how they serve their king and queen and the dishes. And things were taken care of. This is a guy standing in the mirror. So it wasn't part of the picture. It's a mirror. Look at the old picture in the background. Again, dishes. Again, that's a mirror. The telephone room. I don't know, back in the 1800s is original palace switchboard. Here's the room of the king and queen. Bathroom, I believe. Washroom. The doors, steel doors to the bedroom, the bathtub. I'm not too sure if they had these in the 1880s, but I took a picture of the tiles. I mean, like, this is where modern tiling comes from, because they had it back in the 1800s, late 1800s. The old books, I just love old books. Again, the bathroom. This is a bathroom part again. The washroom, castle, just walking through the castle. The bedroom of the lady in waiting, we just saw that. The dining room, we saw that too. Oh, take a picture of myself. I had to. The tiling all over the room, just amazing. The Lady of Pina, with walls and vault encrusted with small stone shells and porcelain fragments, and where a clay sculpture of Saint Jerome was kept. It was later used as a storeroom. This is the room of Our Lady in Waiting. Again, the dining room. Their heater. This was their furnace, and I believe it heated up the whole castle. The old telephone room that we just read. The ceiling, it was so beautiful. My goodness. The sitting room. Oh, blurry. The cell. Until the extinction of the monastery, this small space was used as a prison where monks under punishment were confined. So monks were punished. King Ferdinand II turned it into a wine cellar. The toilets with wooden partitions that can be seen today were installed during the reign of King D. Carlos. Oh, missed that. I'll show you that room here in a minute. Pantry. Now, some of these things got mixed up on me. I apologize for that. So you could see there's a lot of partitions and a lot of rooms, hundreds, and everyone was fully furnished. So there's more dishes there. There's the dining room again. This is that room where they kept the monasteries in a prison. You couldn't really see, and then it was later turned into a store. So a lot of stuff. The clock tower. This one was really old. It was fading. Bedroom. Here's that other room. This goes into a bathroom, I believe. The clock tower. Sorry. There was a huge clock tower. This looks like a desk. It was amazing. The smell in this place was, you could just smell it was kind of like a musty smell. You could tell the royal blue. Tea room, we already saw that. And I had to take a picture of this in the wars. So Portugal had the Tower of Belém where they had armor tanks, like cannons in little windows, so that when ships came to try and attack Portugal, they would use those cannons, and they'd always win. It was, no one could ever overtake Portugal. They're a country of their own, on their own. there's just more pictures of the castle here. Sitting room, the king and the queen. Really lots of floral patterns. Office of King Manuel II, originally planned as apartments for Queen Maria II and King Ferdinand II. The rooms in this tower were set aside for guests after the death of the Queen in 1853. Later, this room became the office of King Manuel II, Portugal's last king. So Portugal had their last king in 1853, maybe around that area, that era. Another room there. Lots of beautiful art. I had to take a picture of that. A lot of narrow passageways. Here's the picture of the King Ferdinand. And they had a lot of antlers. They called it the antler room. Look at the chairs, hey? King chair. People who were part of Portugal back in the day. The Great Hall. Some of these pictures I just forget, but look at how small they had their lookouts too. The stairway up to the castle, really beautiful. I don't know, probably a Chinese king. There's the castle again, and he took a picture of him. He wouldn't, I tried to get a picture without him, but he wouldn't move, so I just took a picture with him in there. I don't know who that is. So, beautiful leather couches, beautiful storage drawers, the entrance. This is a wash basin, probably. Again, the ceiling and the tiles. Born in Vienna, he married Queen Maria II of Portugal, 1819 to 1853. In 1836, becoming consort king shortly afterwards. His most celebrated legacy is the palace and park of Pina. So this was the castle of Pina. Landmarks of romanticism in Sintra. After widowhood, he met Elsie Hensler, 1836 to 1929, a lyrical singer and American of Swiss origin with whom he was to marry in 1869, when she was then honored with the title of Countess of Edla. So this is where they lived. There was like how many kings and queens who occupied this castle. There's a history that I have yet to discover. So here's their bathroom, their wash. It was huge, like I probably have in the picture of Jesus. He's everywhere. Catholic is everywhere. Catholicism is everywhere. Or I'm sorry, I might have to sign off here. I have another meeting. They're waiting. They're waiting for me. Here's the entrance. My baby was mad at me because I took my time. Excuse me. Their candle-lit chandelier. Imagine lighting all those candles. Must have been beautiful. The ship. Smoking room. Here's that antler room. Oh, yeah, this one is when my baby did a performance. She did a performance in Portugal. She danced fancy. And it was really awesome. I don't know if I have the video, but here's space, the Tower of Belém. So down here you could see the cannons where they sat. The stairway into Belém. And this is the edge of the Tower of Belém. Down here they kept their prisoners of war. Don't know if you can see it. The visit to the high tower. So they had levels up there, the Tower of Belém. And it sat sideways. It's really weird. Here's a picture of the cannon, and this is closed off now. It's no longer open. Where they kept the prisoners, or really narrow. Here's what I was talking about. And here's a view of wherever a ship or somebody would be coming to invade Portugal. They would blast them with that cannon. I believe this is a water well. Here's another view from the Tower of Belém. You could see off to the distance if ships were coming. There's another one, cannon. The first floor had the governor's room where he would do his work and give orders. There's a tower to up where the Tower of Belém sits. You could see in the in-country too. And then on the other side, you could see the ocean. So here it is. Tower of Belém. There's the entrance. Here it is. The inside of it. There's the top of it. Here's another prisoner of war cell. These people are swimming in there. I don't know if there was jellyfish, but they were immediately told to get out. So what they did was illegal. So tourists, Tower of Belém at the top. So that was their defense system. King John II conceived a pioneer plan for the defense of the city of Lisbon. He planned the construction of the Tower of Cassius and the crossing of fire between the Tower of S. Sebastio on the south bank and a barge anchored in the middle of the Tagus River. Between 1514 and 1519, King Manuel I concluded this project by having the Tower of Belém built. The Tower of Belém loses strategic importance and becomes successfully a customs post, a telegraph station, a lighthouse, and a health station. Major restoration works took place in the 19th, 1846, and 20th century. So that's what it looks like at the top. I was way at the top. So the chapel was turned into a fourth floor, and this is where we had our breakfast every morning. They don't have bacon and eggs like we do. They have buns, jam or peanut butter, juice, and apple. Their ham is so different from ours. The food is so different. So they basically fed the whole world the same way. And not everyone was here. There was stations all over Portugal where people stayed. There's pictures of another church. Very beautiful. The Church of St. Anthony, I believe. St. Francis of Assisi there. St. Michael the Archangel. Jesus comes down from the cross. Pope John Paul II. They call that the Pieta. The Pieta. There's Mother Mary holding her dead son, Jesus. So Our Lady of Seven Sorrows is our local church. More pictures of churches. Manisha, are you there? Here's a picture of all the hills. This is how it was along the streets everywhere in Portugal.